All right, let's do the Travon Walker video. If you don't know, he was drafted first overall. Some people were a huge fan of it. Some people were not. One of those people who was not is me. So first, we're going to talk about some statistics, and then we're going to talk about some tape, talk about what I think where he's surpassed my expectations, and I've been pleasantly surprised with him, and then where he still needs to, show some improvement. So this chart will be a good one for, these are where he ranks in specific categories according to Pro Football Focus. So there's 119 eligible players that are edge rushers that have enough snaps to qualify, and you see in 4 different categories, he's been horrible to solid to great, depending on the category. So his tackling and pass rush has been straight up, the PFF guys have not been happy with it. Let's just put it that way. Where pass rush, only 2 players have a worse pass rush grade than him. Tackling, only a handful of players have a worse PFF grade than him. So he's been missing tackles. Pass rush has not been too great according to Pro Football Focus, but the run defense has been solid. Again, middle of the road, but for a rookie, you'll definitely take that. You think that he can continue to grow and eventually grow into an actively good run defense guy, and even as of now, playing a bunch of different positions and being solid in run defense, there's definitely value there. As for coverage, this guy is looking like the best coverage edge rusher in the history of football. This guy is fantastic in coverage. PFF has him at first. Again, it's 20 snaps, so it's not like it's a huge part of his game, but still, that's 5 snaps a game. It's not like it's just, a couple of snaps either, so there's definitely value added there as well. So some Jaguars fans will be saying, well, wait a second, we can't trust Pro Football Focus, right? I like Pro Football Focus personally. I think they're pretty solid, but some people don't like them. So again, they are imperfect. I think that's fair. So let's use sort of more traditional numbers then. These are his pass rush statistics: 1 sack and 7 pressures through 4 games. This is not great. It means he's on pace for 4.25 sacks on the season and 29.75 pressures on the season. A replacement level player will get you about 20 pressures on the season. So again, slightly above replacement level in terms of the pressures. The sacks seemingly are right around replacement level. I don't know that number, but that feels about right for me, right around 4.25. So again, he hasn't been the worst pass rusher in football, but his numbers have been pretty close to the worst pass rusher in football. He has not been effective there. So let's talk about maybe why he hasn't been effective there, what he can do, what can he do to be better there, but also what he is legitimately doing well for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So first, let's start off with that 1 sack that happened against Washington. It's going to be a one-on-one block right here, and watch what happens. Look at how right when this play begins, he's going to use his right arm to kind of swat away the right arm of that right tackle, and this is what I want to see Walker do way more of. It's something I complained about in college, is I feel like he too often kind of doesn't have a move. He just tries to run up and see if he can overpower guys or run past guys. In college, he was able to do that. But at the NFL level, guys are a lot more athletic. It becomes more difficult. But on this play, he did do a legit pass rush move. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy, but puts him in a good position. The Washington tackle has no chance of pushing Walker behind Wentz, and Walker is able to get to Wentz and get a sack right here. Listen, this is a good play. Walker has shown flashes at the pass rush position. I can't sit here and say he hasn't. He's just been nowhere near consistent enough. And again, the numbers are terrible with Walker. I actually think he's been a little better than those numbers suggest, but I still don't think he's been fantastic. And, this is kind of something that, my speculation was heading into this season, and kind of why I was a lot lower on Travon Walker as the #1 overall pick, is he's someone who makes these splash plays, but doesn't make them consistently enough to actually add a ton of value to your team. At least that's what I saw in college, and that's my concern, is will he be that guy at the NFL level, or will he improve? Because he definitely could improve. But like going over here, this is definitely an example of where things have been a little bit of a struggle. One thing you notice, a slight false start on Lane Johnson that doesn't get called. It was very slight. I see why it didn't get called. I wouldn't have noticed it if I didn't freeze frame it right here. But okay, that's the situation. It's Lane Johnson versus Travon Walker. Listen, great tackle, right? This is a tough matchup for anybody to succeed in. But that's kind of maybe the concern about Walker, is when he is going up against good tackles, I think he's going to have a hard time. And not just I think, I mean, just so far he has had a hard time. Maybe he'll get better. Again, I totally think that's possible, but he has not been able to get pressure against good tackles. Look at how when his play begins, looks like he's just trying to go for a bull rush, gets his right hands, get both of his hands kind of right on that chest area of Johnson, and he's going to try to just overpower him, which again, in college, he could do all the time. However, here, I mean, how long would it have taken Walker to eventually get to Hurts? 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds? I mean, that was a tough situation. Now listen, ended up being an interception, so you're not complaining about it too much. Maybe it's a good thing Walker didn't get there earlier. It could have actually been worse for the Jaguars, but that's obviously the exception, not the rule. You want to get pressure if you're Walker, and this is one example, right? The reality is, on most plays, an edge rusher loses. That's just the reality of football. This is why, for edge rushers, I like to look at stats like, Pro Football Focus pass rush grade. That tends to be pretty actually representative of how a guy has been in a pass rush situation, and I think it is representative here. Walker just has not been winning much. Going over here now, it's him going up against Braden Smith, who I wouldn't put on Lane Johnson's level, but it's still a good tackle, I would say, a good right tackle here. So again, these are not easy matchups by any means for Walker, but again, it's the NFL. You go up against good tackles sometimes. And again, watch how Walker, I just don't even know what move he's trying to really pull off right here. I mean, it feels like he really didn't do much of anything. So he feels very raw to me. He feels like he definitely has the talent. And again, it's 4 weeks into the season. This makes sense, but I want to see him get better before I'm willing to say, yes, he's been fantastic. I feel like some Jaguars fans have been running a victory lap saying, have you seen these highlights? But if you watch the tape, it does not look as good. Except over here, where his coverage, again, I have to say, I legitimately think he could be one of the best off-ball linebackers in football. He has that kind of physical tools. He's amazing in coverage. I don't know. I've never seen an edge rusher play coverage as well as him. And if that's what you're drafting him for, then, bullseye. Like, you've completely nailed it. He's been amazing in coverage. I've been blown away by it. And trust me, I could make a whole video talking about how impressed I've been with his coverage abilities. So I know I'm kind of bashing him in the pass rush game. He hasn't been good in the pass rush game. With the things that I value, he has not been good there. I like to see guys who have statistics, and I like to see guys who, when I watch the tape, consistently get wins. I haven't seen that with him, so I'm not impressed with him. That's just how I view it. But in the coverage, I've been so impressed with him. He's been so fantastic. Look at where he is on the field and watch what happens. So look, right when his play begins, he knows how to pass off one player and get to the next player. So he already has the good instincts as a coverage edge rusher. Seems like Herbert's saying, okay, well, listen, edge rusher and coverage, let's try to take advantage of that. But watch Walker. I mean, he looks like a defensive back there. Not just any defensive back, a good one. I mean, kind of one of the things that was talked about with him and why he shot up so much in the draft from being a fringe first rounder to after the combine being the first overall pick was because he kind of has the athleticism of a corner, despite the fact that he plays edge rusher. That's his numbers. So because of that, hey, it works out in coverage, and it just definitely adds value with his versatility. That stuff is absolutely true. I'm not trying to scoff at that whatsoever. The versatility thing has almost become a meme at this point, but it is true. Like, him being so versatile helps. And in the running game, I think it's fair to say, like, listen, there are guys who are winning more consistently. He's played 4 games. Of course, there's guys who are winning more consistently. His running defense has been good, I would say, especially for a rookie. I think that I talked about how great I liked Aiden Hutchinson. He's outperformed Aiden Hutchinson. I think that's fair to say. On this play, it's going to be a tight end trying to block him, and the emphasis is going to be on trying. Watch Walker really have, very little trouble getting, knocking that tight end over to where he can be in position to tackle Taylor. The tackle isn't anything crazy, but hey, you tackle a guy, you tackle a guy. He has missed some tackles as well. That's something I noticed on tape. That's something that the numbers suggest, but as a whole, he's putting himself in position, and you put yourself in position, you'll make the tackle. You'll figure that out, especially with someone as big as Walker is. So this is just what I've seen through 4 weeks. Again, I think a lot of people want to jump to conclusions on both sides. I think people are saying, well, he sucks at pass rush. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying he hasn't been effective through 4 weeks, which is true. But I also think there's people saying, well, look at these highlights. If he can do it somewhat consistently now, well, maybe once he gets the consistency down, he'll look way better. Well, we can't just assume that's going to happen either, because this is who he was in college. It's a guy who makes splash plays, and so that's what gets people to, people's eyes to pop, but he doesn't have the consistency numbers. So just until he has some consistency numbers, I'm still going to not view him as a star, but you know, if he gets those consistency numbers down, I will be the first in line to say he's looking fantastic. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? I know that there's going to be some, again, anytime we talk Travon Walker, there's people who get very strong opinions in the comments. But hey, that's what it's all about. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.